Liverpool remained top of the Premier League table after Manchester City and Arsenal played out a cagey 0-0 draw at the Etihad Stadium on Easter Sunday. Unlike their usual selves, neither the Citizens nor the Gunners were able to deliver on Sunday in an eagerly anticipated title showdown, with clear-cut chances at a premium. Nathan Ake went the closest to scoring for the hosts early in the first half before he hobbled off injured, and Gabriel Jesus also had a couple of first-half opportunities for the Gunners against his former club. Let's go around the punditry world to hear what the experts are saying about the title-decider deadlock.
And then when they break that press, the way you have to track back and they stay in deep and they start to move their structure, you have to be really patient there and not rush, and you have to defend the box really well. I think it's 2021, the last time that they haven't scored.
57 games.
So that's 3 years. So that's the difficulty of it.
Yeah, I mean, and we've been talking about it a bit off camera. Potentially Arsenal in previous years might have been talked about a bit about maybe not being streetwise, tough, organised, all those things today.
Absolutely, and you have to have those performances, especially without the ball, to get something out of the game here. And with the ball, as I said, we lack certain composure, especially in the moment that we had.
Tell us a little bit about the game plan, because Bernardo's just been in and talking about how hard it was to play in, and suggesting you press high, go man to man when you can. And then if they get through that initial press, then you drop back into a back six.
Yeah, it's very difficult because they have so many different structures. They start to move players inside on the base from different ways. They can do it with Bernardo from the winger. They can do it with attacking midfield, the centre backs stepping in the base, fullback stepping in the base. And this disrupts your organization because you have to maintain certain principles to still have the chance to put them under pressure. And when you don't, then you are low. When you are low, you have to be very disciplined because they can open you up in any moment.
I mean, did we see quite a tactical cagey game, a bit like we saw at the Emirates? Is it partly because yourself and Pep know each other so well?
It has to be because you have to adapt a lot of time, especially when you don't have the ball to their structure. When you have it, they have to adapt to certain things that we do as well. And it is like that with every manager. The problem here is that you're facing the best manager in the world, so it's much more difficult.
And do we see that during the game when he made a double change, didn't he? But I think he brought Grealish and Doku on. So tell us what you're thinking there. You see him make that double change because you then made one yourself.
Yeah, because we had.
You thought, I know what he's up to.
We had the feeling that what they wanted to exploit, and obviously we have to prevent that.
I think you said in your first answer this was a big stride. So why was it a big stride?
Well, it's a big stride as a team because to come to these big places, and not a lot of teams they have done what we've done today, and especially when there is a lot at stake, and the pressure elevates, and you have to respond, and it's another step.
Okay, so and in terms of the big fight for the title, where does this leave it?
Yeah, nothing changes. We wanted to win. Unfortunately, we know the report results, but we have to carry on. Still a lot to play for.
Okay, thanks, Mikel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Certainly is an awful lot still to play for. Gary Neville has joined us. Gary, we've talked before about Arsenal's defence being a problem for them in previous seasons. They conceded 4 here last season. So when they do manage to keep a clean sheet against such tough opponents, do we have to praise and celebrate them for that?
Yeah, I think they answered 2 big questions today. One is on their mentality. Could they live in a big game against Manchester City? If you remember, they folded last year here and they were sort of all over the place, whereas today they've withstood a lot of pressure and look like a team that could go through a title challenge and have a lot more mental strength. So that's it's a big question asked, I think, today out there because it's difficult to come here. And then the other one, obviously, is the defensive side of things. Last year it was suggested that without Saliba, obviously they were harmed, and that's been proven today. But not just that,
Well, I said that. Come on, let's go back to that. I said last season Saliba is a massive, massive miss, and you sort of dismissed it. Now we've seen the effect. I'm not trying to argue with you guys. I'm
looking for a fight today. It's 0-0. I'm a bit down. It's 0-0.
Oh, come on, let's get it going. There's people at home.
No, so to me today, Saliba was immense, there's no doubt about that, so was Gabriel, but for me, the work ethic of the 2 wide players and the 2 forwards were absolutely incredible. Yeah, the 2 centre-halves were fantastic. They headed everything away. They really did sort of gang up on Haaland. It was the classic 1 go tight, 1 drop off, old-fashioned tactic. But they had a lot of players around them to enable them to do that. They had the full-backs narrow and tight. They had the midfield compact with them. The 2 wide players tucked back in and did a really great job wide. And then the 2 forward players, when it was needed, Havertz and Ødegaard dropped in as well. Look how many players are around them. You know, if you're playing against world-class players, I said this quite often, it absolutely baffles me when you're playing against a world-class player. Don't be embarrassed to think you need to double up. I quite regularly, when you were playing against Overmars or Pires or Ginola or these great players, you have to get someone else with you to gang up. And that's what Jesus did. Jesus got Kivior, out of a lot of trouble today. You know, Kivior was having a bit of a difficult game early on. Jesus was right next to him. Saka next to Ben White. They did a great job collectively.
And physically, they're a lot stronger than last year.
Yeah.
The physicality in the team, they're definitely more athletes, and they can deal with them, that constant pressure, whereas last year, as we saw, they couldn't deal with it.
Would you, Theo, have liked Arsenal to do more to win the game and be on the front foot, or was that just not possible?
Well, just to echo what you said, yeah, the wingers these days, they need to work so hard going forward, going back, always going to be judged on goals. We're comparing Haaland to a League Two player all of a sudden, but the wingers, it can take away from what they actually need to do to affect the game. It really does, because, you know, my experience last year when you're playing against City, how you need to double up on these players, otherwise you're just going to get absolutely popped around and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and it's curtains for you. But yes, it's going to take away your attacking duties, and that's when I feel like they were here to come to do a job, get back into a back six, make it difficult. It got very tight, and I felt like at times when they did bring on Grealish and Doku, it's still a bit, you know, they want to go out wide and they want to run at them, but as well, Arsenal really well prepared, and it just made it very difficult for them today.
All day, all the build-up has been about this being a key head-to-head and whether Arsenal had to come here and win the game and the impact of it. But when you look at these three and how we separate them this season, Arsenal have taken 4 points off Manchester City now. They've taken 4 points off Liverpool, and you see the difference. How significant could that be in the final?
I think it'll be, obviously, it'll have a big difference come the end of the season. At the moment, it's hard to tell. But when it's so tight at the top and you reflect at the end of the season who's won the league, then you look at the points you took off the other top teams. And that's the big surprise with City. City's lack of results against the teams in the top 5. Yeah, that's a big surprise. But I just think that you look at City, what they've been doing for the last 2, 3, 4 years, even the injuries this year, obviously it's never been done before. But there's a reason for that, because there's such demand to turn up week in, week out. When we look at the injuries, we look at the players coming off the bench, Grealish, Doc, and you can't even look at more from them. And they just look a little bit off, and it looks like all the injuries and the stresses over the last few years, and I don't want to sound like I'm writing City off, it looks like it's just certainly caught up with them this year in the big games in the league.
It is an amazing stat, isn't it, that City haven't yet beaten any of the sides in the top 5. Of course, they can still change that. They've got Spurs the back end of the season, and they've got Villa this coming week here at the Etihad as well. Here's Pep Guardiola right now with Patrick Davison.
Pep, how would you analyse that?
We take the point. So we tried. We didn't create match. They didn't create match. The defense so compact, and we cannot regain the balls, high pressing, because it's long balls, second balls, and they are really good with Havertz and all the physicality they have. When Rico came in, were there in that side, and yeah, they had 1 or 2 chances in transitions, and especially when we lose 1 or 2 balls. But yeah, it was a tight game. We were who we are. Maybe we missed a little bit at the final third, but it's not easy. So the strikers go with Rodri. So they are so compact. They defend physicality. The crosses, they are really good. Physicality they have. So yeah, we take the point.
Was it the type of game you expected?
Yeah. The last game in Emirates is quite similar, and yeah, quite similar. Yeah, we try to create a little bit more, but it's not easy. So good players defending the way they play. So they make a good high pressing. They are fantastic what they do. But when we break this first step, we break them in contact with the wingers or with the fullbacks. They, you know, Havertz and Odegaard go close to Jorginho and Rice, and the spaces are minor. They go outside and they are compact, and yeah, that's why they were top of the league. Now it's Liverpool, but they were all the season, last season, playing really well.
I listened to an interview with Rodri in the week where he talked about Arsenal being a bit more direct, a bit more vertical, I think it was his word, this season. Did we see that today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but it works. For them it works. They are, you know, in a good Champions League, and the league was all the time there. They are able to play. They are able to play because we can say The Villarreal cannot do it, especially with the keeper, have ability to do it. All the people in the middle have incredible quality, but when they decide to play more direct, they are really good. And it's part of the game, so.
Do they give you a mixture of problems as well? Sometimes pressing you high, going man to man, and then others dropping deep. Bernardo's been in and done an interview. He was talking about that. They give you almost two sets of problems. Sometimes pressing high, sometimes dropping into like a low block.
Who?
Bernardo said that about the challenges of playing against Arsenal. Sometimes deep, sometimes high up.
No. Always play high. They play high. But when you break, they low block. But, when you arrive in the final third, the main target is not concede a goal. And as much play as you are there, more difficult for the opponent. And they did brilliantly.
How big a blow was it losing Nathan Ake early in the match, especially with John Stones, Kyle Walker already missed? I mean, you did that game with basically an entire, or nearly an entire back four, and your keeper missing.
Yeah, it is. But that's what it is. So I played 2 games in these weeks in the national team of Holland, and sometimes can happen.
Is that actually the biggest worry coming out of today? The players you don't have for the challenges ahead?
That's what it is. So. At the moment, John will be very soon, I think so. At the end, it's less than we expect, and Kyle will be longer. Now, Nathan will be longer. So, what happened with Kyle, especially with John, I said, okay, I know what's going to happen this month, and adapt. And Rico play exceptional well, and we have another guys, and we will do it. So, with the guys we will have, we will do it.
Okay. In terms of the Premier League, like the big fight now, Liverpool favourites?
It was the first. It's the top of the league, so that's why it is. But still 9 games, and yeah, we'll see. So Wednesday another one, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Goalless draw in 80 games of Premier League football since Fulham played Everton in January. The first goalless draw in this fixture since 2011. Is there a case, Micah, that these two managers know each other so well, they work together, they worked hand in hand, they're great friends as well, that they're going to cancel each other out?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you work underneath Pep when I was here, I was privy to a training session with Arteta, and the insight was amazing, knew exactly what to do. You always got to cancel each other out if you know what they're trying to do. So from the interviews I seen there, it was like, okay, Arteta knows what I'm trying to do. We're going to try and mix it up a little bit, but instead of trying to play head-to-head, because he knows history, Man City play better on the front foot, they said, okay, we'll come back and we'll defend, and that's what they did amazingly well. And it would be frustrating for Pep because you have secrets, different formations, different structures, but I just think today Arteta got it perfectly right.
Do you think anything particular was missing from Manchester City? And I ask that, Gary, probably because they're the home side, they're the champions. You'd expect them to force the issue, which they did, of course, but we're used to seeing them score goals, as in the last 57 games.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Arsenal made it so difficult for them. I've never seen a team make it so difficult for Manchester City in the final third. There didn't seem to be any spaces. You see De Bruyne sometimes get his head up and you see him playing that ball into the box. There just didn't seem to be any...
Was he at his sharpest, De Bruyne?
Well, no, you can't say he was, obviously, because he would have unlocked... You saw what happened last year in this game. So, but I'm always cautious of being critical of Manchester City because of the fact even their level when they're not good is still a high level. They still keep a clean sheet, they still dominate possession, they still, to be fair, press and try and probe and try and do the right things. So to say that they didn't get it right today obviously is obvious, but I think that the way in which Arsenal defended was quite unique.
It's hard being Man City at times because if you dominate possession, what was it, 76% possession at one stage in the game, and if a team are going to, with real quality, we talk about top defenders now, Gabriel's been excellent this season, Saliba, Ben White with that relationship has been excellent career coming in as well. And you've got that protection in front of you, Jorginho and Rice. It was about concentration for Arsenal today. They got it bang on. So if you're going to be Man City and constantly having to sort of find a pass or break someone down, of course it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. The big surprise, though, is you're on about the clean sheet. Obviously, that's great, but with the lack of shots on target. Usually, if a team comes here and gets a result, you come away going, hey, the goalkeeper was outstanding, or they got a bit lucky, or whatever, a few decisions, but they never I think, one shot on target. Nowhere near good enough for the levels Man City have set.
So it's been
Guys, well played. Martin, you leave here with something, but not everything. So how do you reflect on that point?
Yeah, it's true. We won all the 3 points, obviously, and we tried our best to get a win, but in the end, we didn't do enough, so we'll take the point and we move on.
William, satisfied or maybe not completely?
No, we cannot be satisfied when we draw, but it's okay. We learn from some games when we cannot win. We don't have to lose. That's why we did well. So yeah, we live with 1 point, but we are not satisfied.
Martin, in terms of Arsenal's progress and the game here last April, did we see how much you missed this guy last year?
Yeah, I think any team in the world would miss this guy. You know, you see the quality he has defending with the ball. Such a complete player, you know. So yeah, we're so lucky to have him, and I'm glad he's fit now. So, but yeah, brilliant player and brilliant performance again today.
Yeah, how hard a work was it, William, keeping them out for 90 minutes plus? We were actually, before Martin got here, having a little chat off camera, and I said to you, is it more tiring on your legs or actually your brain just staying completely focused, knowing that if 1 second goes wrong, it's all done?
I think it's more in our head because we know it's the best team in the world, Manchester City. So we have to be focused all the game, and we did well. We didn't concede, but we didn't score as well. But yeah, we are happy, and that's it.
Just tell us about that partnership with Gabriel. It's obviously one of the best in the league, but particularly today, defending Haaland. Is the plan one of you goes super tight in with him, and then the other guy has to cover around and help his teammate?
Yeah, I'm good because Gabriel is good. He helped me a lot. Not only him, is all the team. When we lose the ball, everyone running back. So I think we all defend well, and that's good. That's a good point, and we have to keep going like this.
Martin, City have scored in their last 57 home games. So defensively, brilliant effort. What about going forward today?
Yeah, we had to defend a lot, a bit more deep than we planned to, but I felt like we were dangerous in certain moments when we had the counters.
Could have nicked it.
Yeah, when we managed to keep the ball a little bit, but you know, it's hard when you've defended for a while and then you get a ball and your legs are heavy, and but in the moments where we managed to take the ball and make a few passes and really take those counters, I felt like we were dangerous. So yeah, I felt like we could have won it in the end there. So, but yeah, it was a tight game and a tough one.
And lastly, where does this leave us? Advantage Liverpool, all to play for? How do you see it?
It's a long way to go, you know, so much can happen, you know, before the end of the season, and we have to take it day by day and game by game, and that's the only way to do it. So yeah, we'll keep working hard, keep pushing, and we'll see. Okay, well, player of the match is a very tired William Saliba. The captain's going to do the honours and hand the award over. There you go, bro.
Thank you, keeper.
Well done.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well played, guys. Well played. Brilliant. Yeah.
I'm sure Saliba was shaking his head there when Patrick was saying advantage Liverpool in the title race. Who knows? Interesting to hear from Martin Ødegaard saying the plan was never to defend as deep as they did here. We said it early on in the game, Roy. Surely they can't do that successfully for the entire game. So actually, do they deserve praise for keeping City out?
Yeah, of course. You know, everyone's got a plan before the game, but when you come to Man City, ultimately you know you're going to defend. He said there the second half they didn't plan to be that deep, but they force you back. But it was just the moments then when they were in possession. I still think Arsenal probably wanted to do a little bit better. But when you're chasing the ball for long periods, you've got 28 possession in the game, you're going to have heavy legs. And they created 1 or 2 moments. I think they had only 2 shots on target. Obviously, Man City only had 1. So overall, Arsenal will be pleased. I think you have to look at City as the home team with their record the last few years. It's more disappointment for them. And you'd probably have to give the kind of credit to Arsenal.
Let's put those stats that Roy's just referenced in some context for you. And he's spot on. Just 1 on target from City, 2 from Arsenal. There've only been 3 games this season with as few as 3 attempts on target in the match. And 2 of those have been when City have played Arsenal. Of course, Martinelli made the difference from the bench in the game at the Emirates. Wasn't able to do that today. Why do you think that is, Theo? On the face of it, 2 teams who are cancelling each other out, but there's obviously a lot more going on than that.
Do you know what, when you watch the guys looking back at, like, you know, you've played a lot, and of course Roy as well, and you look back at games and they're frustrated with not getting a result, and then William Saliba there saying that they're playing against a world-class team. Yes, you are playing against a world-class team, and you managed to stop them from scoring. And you say those stats were scoring in 57 consecutive games as well. You've got to take your hats off to Arsenal. They got a result. That's a result. I mean, obviously, yes, they want to win, of course, but you come to Man City and you get a result and you frustrate them.
But might there be a case, though, when they look back at this and they say the first choice goalkeeper was missing. This is a back four playing together for the first time. Nathan Ake was injured during that first half as well.
But Arsenal, I would say as well, they didn't do enough to win the game. They didn't do enough, neither did City, and that's why it was very frustrating for the fans to watch it, us up here as well. We wanted a little bit more from the players, but there's always an element of, after an international break as well, with players tend to come back a bit sort of lethargic and haven't really prepared well enough, I don't think, maybe, and maybe that was the case today for both teams.
City are used to these challenges. That's not new what we saw today with Man City. And when you're coming up against teams you kind of sit in, that's where you need that real quality. Part of football, the easiest part of football actually sometimes defending. You're just sliding across and everyone's filling spaces. And that's where you need your precise moments, that quality. And when you have people like Foden, De Bruyne, Haaland, who are just off it, we're talking just a few percent, you get away with it. So, we give credit to Arsenal, but when you're watching City to start the game, you can tell they're just these top players who've been at it for years and years, and they just come off it with, listen, there's injuries, they've had setbacks, of course, and they're not quite at it. And we're watching, and the flow and the precision in their passing is just off. Then that is the difference at this level.
Of course, Arsenal wanted to be more effective. They wanted to keep City out and then really hurt them on the break. And really, it was just a handful of moments for them on the counter-attack, Theo. And look at these two chances. Gabriel Jesus gets himself in a great area. What does he do wrong here to miss out on getting that chance?
Well, this is where we look at Gabriel Jesus as an out-and-out forward, and I don't think he is, because I don't feel like he had the vision to see Akanji come behind him as well, and actually that he believed he was going to win the ball. I think that's hard and that's a goal. We all know this, and I just feel like that's the side of it where he can quite frustrate you when I don't think visually you can see everything at times. When he dribbles with it, takes too many touches maybe and someone's in a better space. I mean, yeah, it's a tap-in for any sort of forward there, I believe.
How hard is it to keep your concentration when you've been defending for a lot of the game and then these chances come? Can you keep your concentration and be ready for that chance, or is it because he was tired?
I mean, you're playing the Premier League, I expect these guys to be fit. I really do. Yes, I understand obviously Martin Odegaard saying there when they haven't had the ball as much and their legs feel heavy. Yes, I understand that, but when there's a chance to score, fitness levels don't come to account because you just don't think.
Changes late in the game as well. Trossard and Martinelli thrown into the fray, and you think, well, these are fresh minds, these are fresh bodies, fresh legs. So what happens here, Theo?
Well, I think initially the run's fantastic, but it's just that first touch that doesn't really allow him the space to get onto his left foot. And we see this generation of wings always want to come in onto their favourite foot, which is fine. But I just think here, yes, you can see the run's fantastic. But if as well he looks up and Martinelli can probably burst in a bit quicker, maybe if his touch was better. I think that's what sort of
and
set him back.
Interesting. We're giving Arsenal a lot of praise for all their keeping a clean sheet in defence. Arsenal the highest scorers in the league, and Man City with all their problems, the goalkeeper in the back four, they've kept a clean sheet. So we can't be too hard on Man City, but it's just that there's such high standards, and Arsenal were dependent on moments.
That was his reaction.
Yeah.
Square it. That's what he's asking
You don't
for.
get many chances in these games, you really don't.
And it's easy when you're watching, as we all know.
Yeah.
Get back.
Get back.
Get
Deep
back
block,
and
deep
defend. There were a couple of moments, of course, for Manchester City. We'll reflect on those as well in a few minutes' time. We'll hear from...
Well, Bernardo, tight game between two top teams. What was it like to play in?
Yeah, tough because we played against a top team, very well organised, very competitive, high rhythm, and yeah, I think it could have gone both ways, to be honest. That's what I felt on the pitch. I think we started better, but then during the game they were very good as well, very organised. We had more possession. I felt we had more control, more possession, but they were always dangerous in set pieces, in counters. Tough to play against them because man to man when they were pressing high, when they were defending low, their wingers were playing as fullbacks in like almost a line of 6. So it's never easy to play against teams that defend this well when they're high pressing, and then when they come deep they defend so deep and so connected. So yeah, tough game. Did you have the sense that you were forcing them back, or was it more that they came to defend deep? I felt in the first in the first meters, in the first seconds when we had our goal kicks and we were building up, they tried to do a little bit man-to-man or pressing high and being aggressive. And then when we could get 3-4 passes together and put them a little bit deeper, I think that's when their wingers would go back in a line of 6, and then they would be patient and not jumping. So completely different games. And they were very well organized. It wasn't easy to create chances and to give our strikers opportunities to score goals.
So are they quite a different team? Certainly from the one that came here last April.
Well, last April I felt they were doing man-to-man all over the pitch for the whole game, and when you do man-to-man, it's a bit of a 50-50, and if you have quick players like Kevin and Erling, it's always tough to play against, and that's what they did. And today it wasn't quite the same. But yeah, different team because they're more experienced. They're a top side with the young players that now are 1 year more experienced than they felt what it was to play here last season. And today I think they were much better.
Okay, so you know what it takes to obviously play in these big games and be involved in title races that go right to the wire. How do you see this one now?
Well, not favourites anymore because
Did that change today?
Yeah, I think so. We have to be realistic. Obviously, a lot can happen because 7 games, right? 8, 7? I think 7.
It's 9, isn't it?
Oh, 9. Yeah, oh, that's better for us. I thought it was like 7.
So you completely threw me. Yeah.
I thought it was like 7 or 8, but 9 is better because a lot can.
Back in it.
I'm back in it. We're back in it. No, but even 7, 8, a lot can happen. And but now we don't depend on ourselves. We depend on Liverpool because we don't play against them. We depend also on Arsenal because we don't play against them. So we need them to drop points and we need to do our job and win our games.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
That is a brilliant couple of minutes for Manchester City. They're right back in the title race all of a sudden. It is 9 games. There is a lot of football still to be played. But what was missing today, Micah?
I think just that cutting edge. When we talk about Man City and how they dissect sides, I just think it was more down to Arsenal's brilliance in defence. I think Saliba and Gabriel was brilliant. Ben White knew exactly what he was doing. Carrillo come really narrow as well. And then when they sort of got tired, they brought in Tomiyasu and brought in Partey in midfield. I just think it was a collective thing from Arsenal, and Man City couldn't really find the pieces and the puzzles to dissect them today.
Couple of set pieces, and we talked about that before the game as that being a key area potentially for both teams to exploit. Do you think Ake's chance was probably better than he actually realised in that moment?
Yeah, it's a massive chance. You know, the ball comes in, couldn't make the greatest movement, but he finds himself free inside the box, and you can just see here it comes off his shoulder and not his head. He can't get the direction that he wants on. A little nudge there, and he'll be kicking himself because it's a huge opportunity after 50.